on top of the world, about to jump above it. Take it straight to the moon, 'cause we know how to rock it. Ain't no thing you can do, ain't no way to stop it. Now you're feeling it too, let's get it started. Throw your hands in the air while the beat is dropping. Acting like you don't care when everybody's watching. Just keep whipping your hair like that, you got it. Yeah, you're feeling it too, let's get it started. I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Starting to heat up, off the charts, off the meter. Turn it up, blow the speakers, make them all to believers. Break through the surface, tell them open the curtains. Give them all what they wanted, yeah. Now let's get it started. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. I'm ready. Are you ready, ready? I'm ready. Let's get it started. Yeah, yeah. I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Let's go. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it, get it. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Give me something new. Time to break it loose. Take it to another level. Now we on the move. Shout if you coming with me. Going over the limit. On your mark, keep it steady. So tell me, are you ready? I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started.
Two races remain in the quest for the Northwest iRacing ARCA Series Championship. This is the penultimate race of the season. We welcome you to coverage from the Homestead-Miami Speedway on the virtual iRacing simulator. And, of course, our broadcast coverage presented by Tom Denchel Automotive Group. It is tonight's big race. Before these drivers prepare for the Cup and Truck Series race, ARCA is up first, a championship up for grabs, and so much more. Good evening. Welcome to Homestead-Miami Speedway. I'm Wesley Outland. Joined alongside is Brandon Robinson. It's my first time working with BR. And I'll tell you, Homestead-Miami, you think of precision banking, you think of 2 and 3 wide coming at you like that right there. We're going to see some excitement like that tonight from Homestead. Your thoughts, my
Well, yeah, you said it. I mean, Miami being such a historic track here at the end of all these IRL NASCAR seasons. For a while there, it was the championship race. Of course, that being moved to Phoenix this year. But yeah, the last race in the round of 8, we were at New Hampshire last week, which provided some really good quality racing. Here, Miami Homestead, under the lights. I expect us to pick up right where we left off last week with some exciting racing with the guys here from Northwest Racing Series.
Should be a good one. The ARCA car is ready to go here tonight as they'll get ready to cinch up and qualify, go through the drivers' meeting, and we'll have it for you here from the virtual Homestead-Miami Speedway. You see the palm trees and all that is real as they try to mimic and blueprint everything to a T of what Homestead-Miami Speedway or any other iRacing simulator track looks like in reality. Let's take a look on the bottom left of your monitor. The LSRTV 411 race information. 30-minute practice is done. Qualifying is about to get underway. They got 15 minutes as well, including the drivers' meeting. And then they're going to go 200 miles, 134 laps the distance here tonight for the ARCA Series at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Now we go to the bottom right of the monitor. Take a look at your weather conditions here. Virtual Homestead-Miami, Florida. Weather conditions are under the lights already. Track temp the same as the ambient temperature, 81 degrees. It is windy, though, Brandon. Partly cloudy skies. Should be making some interesting racing here tonight.
Yeah, and hopefully I would assume the majority of these drivers know the track conditions going into the week so that they could practice that all week. The last thing you'd want to do is boot up Homestead-Miami during the week and be practicing at daytime here at nighttime. These track conditions, it's going to make all the difference in the world. Of course, as you said, they did have a pretty lengthy practice session before this qualifying is going to begin. So all the drivers nonetheless should be ready to go here tonight. As the last round of 8, Ryan Bloom still up there in first right now, followed by Frank Harris in second, close behind.
The point standings. Let's show you them real quickly, as of course these drivers are battling. There they are. Remember, 4 transfer. So right now, Ryan Bloom is on cloud 9. He is currently the man that is looking to transfer. But here's the thing. These drivers are not so far won any of the round of 8 races. These drivers are going in by virtue of points, and that is why they're so close. Of course, the setback is Kevin Smith, who missed a week because of vacation. He has got to do and pull a rabbit out of a hat, just like he's got to do here at Homestead for ARCA tonight. He's got to do the same thing for Cup and Truck. Kevin Smith, James Vining, the Catman, right now, 4th on the bubble. He would be the man that would transfer in by virtue of 1 point over Troy Daggett, or below Troy Daggett. So right now, Ryan Bloom, Frank Harris, Troy Vining are unofficially your final 4 to race for a championship at Las Vegas next Friday night. But Brandon, this is why we race. This is why we do what we do, and there is opportunities for James Vining, Kevin Smith, Robert Gamble, and even Judd Wakefield. Even though they're also, along with Toby Ritters, in the number 8 spot, they can climb in, they can pull an upset, go to the championship 4.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of scrapping with these guys that are right outside that bubble there. And you brought up a good point. None of these drivers that are in the top 4 currently have won a race in the round of 8. Sean Brightsman won the Worldwide Technology. Dennis Moore won at Chicagoland Speedway. And last week at New Hampshire, Devin West won. So these guys are coming in virtue by points. But here tonight, Wes, I think it's going to be a little bit more scrappy than what we've seen. Second to last race, these guys outside on the bubble, it's all or nothing here tonight.
Should be a good one. We will step away. When we come back, we'll get ready to qualify and see how things are going, as we are ready to go for the penultimate race of the regular season. The Northwest iRacing ARCA Series playoffs continue Friday night. Your home for sim racing, LSRTV.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outlet on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the Community Radio Network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
Welcome back to the playoffs, the Northwest iRacing ARCA Series here on a Friday night here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Final preparation going on, drivers meeting, final rules being laid down. And I will tell you one thing, Brandon, one thing that was talked about from the truck race on Wednesday on back to the quest for a championship here tonight at Homestead, next week at Vegas, was rough driving. If anybody does anything intentional, they have the chance of being disqualified, parked for the finale at Las Vegas. So that's something we have to keep an eye on. These drivers, though racing competitive and hard, but if there's anything that is deemed, there could be penalties and disqualifications and even suspensions handed down.
Yeah, and I think that's just league admins trying to make, trying to ensure that these guys that are fighting for the championship don't have to worry about the guys that are outside the bubble that haven't made the playoffs. Those guys have been told, hey, let's keep it clean. Let's let the guys who are driving for the championship be able to contend for that as cleanly as possible. But then also for the drivers that are in the championship, they don't want to see any dirty moves out there. They don't want a Kevin Harvick at the Roval taking out, Chase Elliott. And then what happened last week, even at the end of Martinsville. Let's keep the tempers down. Let's race like gentlemen out there. Of course, racing hard. Everything's going to be reviewed, like you said. But if the admins deem that it was unnecessary and, totally crossing the line here, there could be penalties. So race hard, try to get into the championship but at the same time, do it like a gentleman.
Yeah, for sure. And that's definitely something that they're going to be monitoring. They're going to have officials. And a matter of fact, one of the conversation is they're going to have spotters and they're going to have more officials around here a lot more than often just to make sure that everything is done fair. You want to win a championship. You want to be the guy at the top of the mountain when it's said and done. But in doing so, you're going to have to do it fair. You're going to have to compete. And I don't want that to take away from the notion of I don't think we're going to see good, hard racing because I think we are. But it's just if somebody loses their head, gets a little too aggressive, maybe tries to take somebody else out that might be a championship contender. That's what I believe the things the iRacing and Northwest officials, Brandon, are going to be watching and monitoring for sure.
Yeah, and to be honest, with this league, it seems like a good bunch here. These guys have been racing together all season long. It's been a really long season. So it's not like we're starting out and there's a bunch of people trying to feel each other out or maybe some rookies coming in with this league. These guys know what's at stake. They know how to race around one another. And so I don't think we're going to have too much of an issue with that. But just caution, beware for these drivers. Keep it straight.
Well, normally Samuel and I will pick our picks for the race. So, Brandon, we'll kind of do an unofficial pick of the race. Who are you? Who you riding with? Who do you think is going to be the big winner here tonight at Homestead-Miami Speedway?
Well, if I had to choose, I would have to go with points leader Ryan Bloom, which right now he does have the best lap out there right now with the 33.98 in the qualifying session. So I'm going to go with the points leader, Ryan Bloom. I know it's not the most exciting pick, but I think that 25 Chevrolet is going to be locked in.
Well, you're going with Ryan Bloom, and I'll tell you, I'm going with somebody else, and I think it's going to be a long shot, but if he can pull it off, it would be impressive. I'm going to go with Kevin Smith. He looked really strong in practice. He was at the top of the board. He hasn't came out to qualify yet. Normally, he's had some really good, strong runs in qualifying, and he is one of those guys that he needs to win. If he does not win here tonight, he possibly is going to go on the trailer and not run for a championship four. So my pick tonight is one of the playoff guys, just like your guy, the number one man, Ryan Bloom. I'm going to go to the number 8 seed, and I'm going to pick Kevin Smith at number 5 in the points. I think he's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat. He's going to win this race. He's going to race for a championship next week in the ARCA playoffs at Las Vegas.
Yeah, see, I like that pick, though. You're a little bit more of an attractive pick for the viewers at home. I might be playing it a little bit safe there. And you brought it up at the beginning of the broadcast. Because of the point situation, Ryan Bloom doesn't have to go out here and necessarily sweat. Of course, he wants a good finish. And he doesn't want to go into that championship four on a downhill slide. So he can kind of kick back tonight, keep that ARCA car clean as possible, maybe look for a top 10, top 12 at the very worst. While you're right, some of these other guys, like the guy that you picked, they're really going to have to scrap it out. There might be a little bit more motivation for those guys to pull a checker here.
Right now, qualifying is still ongoing, and as you said, Ryan Bloom is currently at the top of the board as these drivers working their way around the racetrack. You hear a little rumble of the engines. Normally do not cover qualifying usually on our pre-race coverage. We used to, but normally we just come on the air right as qualifying is wrapping up, as there goes, I believe, Ottenbacher. I think it's James Vining, I believe, is on the racetrack now. So as these drivers are working their way into turn number 4, coming down the front straightaway for qualifying, there's the green machine that we're referring to, as those drivers right now trying to, James Vining, second fast in qualifying. You just saw the lap he turned, and that's who we're keeping an eye on right now. A couple of more cars await qualify, and one of them is Kevin Smith. He's on racetrack right now qualifying. We'll see where he ends up. You'll see him fly by. Like I said, we normally do not give you a full blow-by-blow of the qualifying of where they run, but here he comes. There's the Hermiston, Washington native, Kevin Smith, roaring by start-finish line. And that's Jeff Stabnow now going to the top of the spot. Jeff Stabnow. And Brandon, I know this is our first time working together, but, you know, Jeff Stabnow, he's had a dismal season. A former champion in this Northwest program. One win this year. It happened at ARCA at Iowa Speedway. This track totally different than what Iowa Speedway is. But right now, he sits at the top of the board, and I know he just wants to win. He wants to win races.
Yeah, and going back to New Hampshire last week, Jeff Stabnow looked really good out there before a late race incident happened, and he kind of got taken out there, and he came across the voice radio in iRacing saying, well, you guys just aren't going to allow me to finish a race, apparently. So a little bit of friendly banter and frustration coming out of Jeff Stabnow after having a really good start to that race last week, and maybe bringing a little bit of that here tonight at Miami as he's looks like going to be sitting our pole sitter. I know we have a few drivers left to qualify, but all the hitters are up there. James Vining, Kevin Smith, Ryan Bloom, who drops to 6th after I give him the nod. Thanks a lot there, Ryan Bloom. But yeah, Jeff Stabnow sitting right there at pole, tied with Dennis Moore with a 33.76.
They are tied together, might I add, 33.76 and a 33.76 with Jeff Stabnow, and I think he just might be a tick faster, and only our timing and scoring throws a 33.76. Our other timing and scoring is showing that by thousandths, Jeff Stabnow has took the pole away from Dennis Moore. And by the way, Kevin Smith also, Brandon, a 33.76. 3 cars right there nestled with the fast time of one another.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, isn't it? It's not uncommon to see maybe 2 guys up there at the top with very similar times, but to have 3 guys, Jeff Stabnow, Dennis Moore, and Kevin Smith, to end qualifying with the exact same time, pretty impressive.
Certainly is. Definitely going to be a good one, as well as the clock is ticking down. Of course, Rocket Media, Live Sim Racing TV welcomes you to coverage from Homestead. He is Brandon Robinson. I am Wesley Outland, and we are about to get you to buckle up and hold on tight. Stitch up those seat belts and get ready for a fun one as we get ready for 200 miles, 134 laps as qualifying is officially over and 19 cars are beginning to grid for the penultimate race of the season. It's also the final race in the round of 8. 4's in, whether by win or points, are racing for a championship, and it is go time here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Let's give you your Team 126 Racing starting lineup. On the pole, the Munster, the Rockstar Energy Drink, number 24, alongside. That is Jeff Stabnow from Billings, Montana. From the Beaver State Group, Dennis Moore, number 44, row 1. Row 2 on the grid, we'll find Kevin Smith. He has to win to his outside the Cat Man. Go Seahawks. I'm a Steelers fan. James Vining, the 333. Row 3 on the grid. Dan West Jr. in 55. To the outside, Ryan Bloom, the number 1 seed, and Brandon Spick in 25. Row 4 on the grid will find Big Bird, Eric Cheney in the 76. Will Duvall from West Virginia, the 85. And around out your top 10 at Homestead, it's Aaron Cooper along with Carl Burke here. And now Brandon will give the rest of the lineup for the top 20 starters.
Yeah, there in 11th is going to be Tyler King and Tyler Kim in 12th. Dan Lowther on the inside there in row 7 and 13th, along with Stephen Paulison, There in 14th, Troy Daggett in the 51 Chevrolet. In 15th, Ray Fournier on the outside. In 16th, Frank Harris and Scott Hutchinson. 17th and 18th, with Judd Wakefield sharing that spot, that last row, all by himself.
19 starters ready to go. The lights are off on the iRacing Ford Mustang pace car. And we are about ready to get this started. The field is set. We're ready. 200 miles, 134 laps. The field will come to the starting line. Green flag goes in the air. The ladies and gentlemen, 19 virtual warlords. There's kaleidoscope of colors. Nestle into turn 1 and 2. Brandon, we're underway in the green 24 of Jeff Stabnow gets the early lead.
Yeah, Jeff Stabnow with a beautiful start there. You see the gap already onto Kevin Smith, who's up from 3rd into 2nd. Dennis Moore dropping back to 3rd. Dan West in 4th with James Vining in 5th. But you see that 24 car, as we got a car sliding down in the infield there. I think he's going to be able to save it. He is, and we stay green. But a beautiful start by Jeff Stabnow.
Definitely a good run. This race underway, getting Stabnow out in front. Kevin Smith up to 2nd. Dan West Jr. to 3rd. Remember, Dan West Jr., he won the race on Wednesday night for the trucks. Father-son team. Working their way off of turn. No, Dan West Jr. won the race for the Cup Series on Monday is what I meant to say. My apologies.
Yeah, it looks like we're all single file 1 through 8th right now. West, Dan Lowther there in 9th. Just cleared the triple threes of James Vining. So single file all the way through the top 10 and throughout most of this field. The 21 car of Tyler King and the 71 of Aaron Cooper right now down the backstretch side by side. But here in the early going, everybody just getting comfortable, falling in line with one another, realizing that it's a long race, and with those extra precautions from the admins, everybody playing nice here in the early going.
Up high, Kevin Smith up the outside, inside lane, Dennis Moore. Remember, Dennis Moore won last week. He's one of those ARCA regulars, and he won some money. Got $175 to be exact.
Woo. As
that pot just continued to build and build and build and build, race after race. And it was $125 of $175 for the taking that he won.
That's some pretty good change right there.
Turn 4. Yeah, that's a really good payday, especially for iRacing. And that money resets now, I believe, if they've reset it again. I don't know if they're doing that or not, but that was something that Kevin Smith did with Tom Denchel Auto Group to give back to these ARCA drivers to make it be some type of bonus for these guys to run towards it. And honestly, it came down to the race last week before an ARCA regular like Dennis Moore finally claimed the money. Sideways, Eric Cheney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 76 car just getting a little bit loose there. I think we're going to see that here a little bit at Miami Homestead. The way the banking is, these guys want to get on the accelerator maybe a little bit too soon, and I think that's going to be something that we see all night. So the 76 of Eric Cheney going to lose 3 spots, falls back down to 10th.
Turn number 3, here they work off 4. There's James Vining, there's the Cat Man, Eric Cheney. They battle for 9th and 10th across the line. You see the drivers in blue? They are all currently the top 4 in the playoffs. They are the top 4 seeds right now. Nobody is in green, as me and Brandon reiterated on in pre-race. Before the drop of the green, no points drivers have won. Ryan Bloom with a problem up the racetrack.
Yeah, that's right. And I was just getting ready to touch base there. Sorry, Wes, but Ryan Bloom, a little struggle here early on. He's dropped 2 spots since the beginning of this race, finds himself back fighting for 7th right now, currently in 8th with Dan Lowther on the inside in that 63 Menards car.
Bloom up the hill, working back under the 63 machine of Dan Lowther, the mellow yellow colors. Monster Energy and Mellow Yellow going at it. Up the racetrack, also Menards on the sponsor of Dan Lowther's car. James Vining, Eric Cheney right there. Boy, Dan Lowther shot the gap out of coming out of 4 up in the marbles, if you will. It was up in the tater patch. Saves it. Still stays up in the wall, the 25 car. He's in the wall there, Brandon, out of turn 2.
Yeah, that's Ryan Bloom again, continuing to struggle down to 11th. But Dan Lowther, the 63 car that we focused on a little bit right now, a man on a mission right now, Wes. He has gained 8 spots since the drop of the green flag, and he's there in 6th. Now tracking down BJ Duvall to crack into that top 5.
Lap 10 of 134. 10 laps completed. Next time by, there's Dan Lowther. And here comes the Warlords working off the corner. Listen to them purr. Nice camera angles. Thanks to Will Duvall for providing those camera angles for our LSRTV Rocket Media production crew. Here comes Lowther. Car fighting off the exit of the corner. We've seen that on a couple of cars, preferably right now, Brandon. Dan Lowther in 63, and earlier we saw the 76 of Cheney have problems, and the 25 of Ryan Bloom, who has fell back in the top 10.
Yeah, and to prevent that moving forward, especially when these tires start to wear down, we saw the 63 car, you called it. He was very high up out of the track at one point in time, and as this tire starts to wear here at Miami, I think that high side is really going to start to prime up for these guys. The bottom feeders will have no choice but to at least slide up to that middle line. So these guys right now, hey, it's early, but a couple of these drivers, including Dan and a few others that we've seen get a little bit sideways, these guys are 100% out of the gate, and they're moving up quite a bit as Dan Lowther does finally get into the top 5.
Kevin Smith up the racetrack. Remember, we talked about him earlier. Inside, Dennis Moore, winner last week. Of course, at New Hampshire.
Yeah, and the
now
double
trying to
zero
get
car
around
right
Kevin
now.
Smith.
Yeah, sorry about that, Wes. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Kevin Smith has continued to run the top line here, and I'm wondering if that's just being where he needs to stay at right now because he's having some handling issues.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to touch base on. But also the one thing that we're going to see here tonight, like a lot of other tracks too, is you can race on that high side. You can get a lot of momentum coming off corner exit. Right there, he loses it a little bit. He had a little bit of a bad lap now that we're talking about him. But throughout this race, when you see these guys on the outside, they're going to be able to run with the guys that are on the inside. They'll carry that momentum off corner exit, and they'll be able to get a really, really good run. So right now here with the ARCA cars at Homestead-Miami, you can run both lines if you want to.
Little sparks coming from one of those cars as they bounce their way into the third turn. There's the 21 machine. And that is Tyler King, Aaron Cooper, and Eric Cheney battle. A couple of Chevrolets side by side. Troy Daggett behind him or in the 51. Paulus in the Daytona Cup winner in 58. And that's just some of the action going on here. Now 15 laps completed this time by off turn number 4 where they come back to the stripe.
Yeah, we got 18 cars on the lead lap. Unfortunately, in the early going, Tyler Kim, not too sure what happened with that 30 machine, but he's not only fallen to the end of the line, but he seems to have gone a lap down. So not too sure what happened with him. And the good thing is he's not going to have to fight for that lucky dog with somebody right now because he's the only car down. But, Jeff Stabnow right now in that 24 car, very impressive to be able to come in late into the qualifying session, Wes, get that pole. He had a wonderful start, and right now he's almost 2 seconds on Dan West in second place.
Sideways there for a moment was Troy Daggett up the racetrack. There's Carl Burke. Carl Burke up the hill, and he pulls up in front of Duvall. Duvall will sneak down to the bottom, go to the middle lane. Tyler King will protect the inside as well. And now they're going to go 2 by 2 by 2 like Noah leading the animals to the arc down to turn 1. Carl Burke now making something happen on the outside lane. He can't clear King. They go side by side at a speed of a pace speed, set speed down the back straightaway, and at pace car speed side by side. No one breaking out of line. That's track right now.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about a couple of laps ago. At the beginning, we saw everybody kind of fall single file. These guys were starting to get into their groove. We're almost going to be 3 wide there if the 85 didn't get a little bit loose. But now that everybody's settled in, they're grooved in, we have some heat on the tires. Now we're starting to see quite a bit of side-by-side racing here. And really, as I talked about, there's no real advantage to the inside line to that high side, just as long as you can keep that rear end straight and you're not getting loose on the exit.
Jeff Stabnow out in front as we ride on board with, I believe it's Duvall, as he's got Daggett to his inside, coming after him for that spot. Down the front straightaway, Mountain Dew 51. LSRTV pink and white colors of the West Virginia native. More prominently known for doing iRacing on the dirt in the world of Thunder, but he is getting into running pavement cars. James Vining down below the racetrack is Aaron Cooper. Wow.
Yeah, and there's no better car to start with than the ARCAs, especially transitioning from dirt to asphalt. The last thing that you want to do if you want to compete at a very high level is to jump right into that cup car or the next gen. Starting here, especially with a league that is as established as Northwest Racing Series with the long schedule. We're in a lobby full of A-class drivers, some pretty mid-range I-rating, which is good. So to make the transition from dirt to the asphalt, this is the league that I think is really good for that, and I think the ARCA car suits that transition very well as well.
"20 laps completed now in this 200-mile or 134 laps. Lap 67 will be halfway. Jeff Stabnow is the man out in front. Dennis Moore in second. Dan West Jr. is third. Kevin Smith is fourth. Dan Lowther, the top 5. And I don't know if you noticed this as well, Brandon. Daggett, Bloom, Vining, Harris, number 4 in the seeding are all the way behind the top 10 and 7th on back.
Yeah, and they'll be just fine. A long race here tonight. Brian Bloom, we talked about his early struggles here, but Troy Daggett up 9 spots up to 7th. He's had himself a beautiful start to this race. BJ Duvall, he qualified 8th. He's still right there in the 9th. Aaron Cooper qualified 9th. He's right there gatekeeping the top 10. So I think these guys right now, look, they've been in these positions before throughout the season where they might have a little bit of a slower start than they want to. Pit strategy is going to come into play here. And, truthfully, some of these guys, Wes, could be dropping back a little bit because they're saving tires a little bit more. We saw Dan West lose the second position to Dennis Moore just a couple of laps ago, and the 55 continues to lose pace on that 44 just a little bit. So these guys that are on back there, Troy Daggett, Bloom, Cooper, Cheney, these guys will be fine. In fact, they might just be off pace a little bit because they're trying to save tires for the long run.
And there is again Will Duvall climbing into the top 10, or trying to, if he can get around Cheney and Cooper, who are 9th and 10th. Trying to also bring James Vining with him, behind him, as they work off of 2 down the back straightaway. Nice, comfortable race. Cooper dive bombs bonsai to the inside of Eric Cheney. They'll battle for that spot. That's inside the top 10.
Yeah, good move there by the 71 car as he does make the pass on to Eric Cheney. We've seen Cheney in the 76 car with that Miami retro Oakley paint scheme on there. Now he dives on the inside, but the 76 of Eric Cheney has really been digging that outside line. They swap here, of course, as we're talking about it live. But, yeah, good battle going on here for that 9th spot between Cooper and Cheney.
Backstretch into the 3rd turn. Aerial coverage, as always, and for tonight's race is presented by LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Hey, if you're interested and want to be a sponsor for any advertising, or if you want to get a league of yours on LSRTV broadcasting and Rocket Media, go to livesimracingtv.com. There's a lot of big things going on, a lot of cool leagues starting up. As you see from the aerial view, Eric Cheney fighting that car, Robinson, and here comes now Cooper trying to lick his chops and pound on the bottom of the racetrack to get around him. But still, Cheney fighting hard on the outside lane and making it work in the 76 car.
Yeah, he really is. We saw about 2 laps ago, they flip-flopped, right? The 71 was on the inside. He decided to take the high side. So the 76 car of Eric Cheney said, all right, I'll go down low for a lap or 2. But you see that outside line working so well for Eric Cheney. He decided to go back to it. He clears the 71, and now he's on the inside of the 21 car of Tyler King.
Outside Tyler King. Cheney goes around, King in the middle, Cooper back, and this 3-car swing is not about to become a 6-car swing as Vining and Duvall and Burke has run them down.
Yeah, they really have. Here comes that 333 out of the inside. The 71 checks up all the way up to the wall there. He's trying to look out of the inside here, down into turn 3. I don't think he's going to be able to secure the pass, but you're right. The 85 car of Duvall, Carl Burke in the 53, all these guys starting to catch up now to this top 10, which is being ran by James Vining now as he's on the inside of the 71. So he makes a pass on Aaron Cooper.
And looks like we have a battle brewing for the lead as Dennis Moore from the Beaver State game running down Jeff Stabnow from Billings, Montana, the green 24.
Yeah, you got to worry about
energy.
You got to worry about if Jeff was out there in the lead, not really being able to gauge his pace. It was just out there, Wes, enjoying that clean air, but maybe running down his tires. And, you know, Dan West Jr. was in second for a little while. He lost that to the 44 car of Dennis Moore. When Dennis took over that second spot, there was about a 1.8 second lead that Jeff Stabnow had, and we've now seen that we're almost coming up on a quarter second of a lead. So you got to think Jeff, out there all by himself in the lead for so long, might have ran these tires right off that 24 machine.
Stabnow, there he is in the green car up the outside, inside Dennis Moore, reeling him in like bait on a hook.
And these guys, I don't know what the pit window is going to be here, Wes, but I know Jeff Stabnow is probably looking in his rearview mirror, seeing this run that Dennis has. This early in the race, I don't think Jeff is going to fight the 44 too hard. You see him kind of slide up the track there. He's going to let the 44 go on the inside uncontested. It's a little too early to start battling too hard there, but I think Jeff Stabnow is looking for that pit window to open, whether it's, maybe he gets a caution here in the next couple of laps, or everybody decides to come down for their rotation of green flag pit stops, but you see the leader in danger of losing that top spot.
Stab now on the outside for the lead. Here they come. Dennis Moore to the bottom. Will he make it stick? Stab. No! We're running out of room. Here to close in on the back end of that car. Got a trunk full of the 44. And now Moore to the outside, trying to fight to the bottom. Stab now right there up under him. They work their way off of turn number 4. Stab now getting a little sideways. New leader. It is Dennis Moore in the 44. Stab now falling back to second. We're 34 laps in now, 33 completed.
Yeah, a really good move by Dennis Moore there. As soon as his spotter told him that he was clear of Jeff Stabnow, he checked up high to get in front of that nose of Jeff Stabnow so he couldn't get a run coming off the corner exit down the backstretch there. So a good job by Dennis Moore of not only tracking down Jeff Stabnow, but as soon as he was clear, checking up and securing that position. And right now, it does look like at least one car is coming down pit road under green.
That is Tyler King, another one of those Beaver State drivers. The 21 machine. Normally you see him always in the Pills Mandarin Oranges, number 21. Orange and blue colors. This car is the orange, black, and white, number 21. And pit stops, I gotta think, Brandon, are getting ready to happen here within the next 10 to 15 laps. That might be an early pit stop on Tyler King.
Yeah, he might be doing a little bit of a strategy there. And, of course, his teammate up here, Dennis Moore, they're going to be on a little bit of a different pit strategy. If they were closer together, maybe they'd be communicating, coming down at the same time. But right now, Dennis Moore probably going to run this out as long as he possibly can, along with Jeff Stabnow. But I think that pit window, you're right. I think it's starting to open up a little bit. Tyler King coming down a little bit early. But, yeah, within the next 5-10 laps, I think we start seeing some of the mid-pack guys come down. And I think Dennis Moore and Jeff Stabnow are just going to stay out as long as they possibly can, assuming that we stay green.
Inside, they stay below the bottom of the racetrack out of turn number 4. Here they drift back up to the back straightaway. And there you see Dennis Moore staying on the bottom. Jeff Stabnow, it honestly looks like for the 24, Brandon, that he's fighting that car. He's fighting to stay on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And he has been for a while now. Again, I don't want to repeat myself here, but Wes, before Dennis Moore started tracking him down, again, I'll go back to the near 2-second lead that Jeff Stabnow had. And it seemed like within a matter of 3 or 4 laps, Dennis Moore was not only on the back bumper of Jeff Stabnow, but he was ready to take the lead. So I think Jeff's been struggling right now with his tire wear for a good 10 or 15 laps here, and now it's really starting to show.
Dennis Moore, Jeff Stabnow, Dan West Jr., Kevin Smith, Dan Lowther, Troy Daggett, Ryan Bloom, James Vining, BJ Duvall, and Eric Cheney, your top 10, as we give you a full field rundown here as we approach lap number 40.
Dan Lowther was such an impressive run. Troy Daggett, while all this action has been going on, he's done nothing but find 10 spots on the racetrack here tonight. He qualified in that 16th position, all the way up to 6th right now. Ryan Bloom, who had a little bit of early struggles here in the race. We documented that. At one point, he was outside of the top 10, fighting for 11th and 12th. He's now finding a little comfort zone up there in 7th, but he's really starting to catch here a little bit. We'll see if he continues that momentum. James Vining, who had also slipped up here a little bit early into the race. He's lost a total of 4 spots. He's back there in 8th. But I think a lot of these guys that we talked about, Wes, who were struggling a little bit early on, once they started catching the pack and getting into the groove, these guys now are starting to find some footing here at Homestead.
We mentioned the top 10. We also have Aaron Cooper, Frank Harris, Stephen Paulison, Ray Fortier, Judd Wakefield, Tyler King, Carl Burke, of course, Kim and Hutchinson out of the race, and that is the current rundown of the racetrack of 40 laps completed as we are under 100 laps to go. Lap 67 will be halfway. Right now, it is Dennis Moore leading. There's James Vining. There's Ryan Bloom. Right now, the fastest car in the number as a driver in the playoffs is Daggett, currently in the 51. He's in 5th position. Kevin Smith, who is in the number 5 seed, who needs a win, mind you, to win this race. He cannot do it. This is the honest truth here. Brandon, he cannot do it by points. He's too far back in points. Kevin Smith needs a win, and right now he's in 4th position, doing strong, doing well as we are approaching lap 50.
Yeah, right now, putting himself in some pretty good position. He qualified P3. He's only lost 1 spot. He's in 4th. So right now, when you're that driver, you can only take care of what you can take care of. You can't slow down Dennis Moore or Jeff Stabnow or even Dan West in front of him. So right now, sitting 4th, he's going to get past you by the 21, but he's on fresh tires a lap down. But right now, Kevin Smith setting himself up okay, but he's going to have to find a little bit of pace because right now he drops to 5th overall, but they're about 14 seconds off right now, Wes, of Dennis Moore and Jeff Stabnow.
And there is Daggett, and there is Smith, and they are 4th and 5th. And as you said, they're about 10 seconds back to the top 3, as about 1.7 seconds back, 2 seconds is Stabnow. He has lost ground on Dennis Moore. Then you've got about 5 seconds back to the leader on Dennis Moore with Dan West Jr. And here comes Kevin Smith coming down to the pit lane. And as I said, Brandon, green flag pit stops are about to go down. I think he's trying to get the early bird of everybody else. Trouble, front straightaway, 1 car spinning. That is Eric Janey. We do not have a caution yet. No yellow.
Yeah, he's going to slide up that racetrack. Maybe, I know he was trying to regain his car, but maybe he was also trying to get a little cheeky caution flag there. You see him continuing to struggle with his race car.
I don't think that's intentional. I don't think he's trying to intentionally spin out. I think he's literally having a handling issue, and he's trying to get back going again. And he's fighting the race car. And you know, no caution, green flag pit stops underway. Pit litter came in, Dennis Moore came in.
Yeah, I mean, Cheney's coming in, a couple of cars come down pit road, and now here's the Jeff Stabnow. Yep, coming down pit road. So a little bit wild there, Wes. I really expected a caution, but sometimes, for the viewers at home, on certain tracks, it's mostly at super speedways, but as we see here at Homestead-Miami, if it's a 1, maybe 2 car incident and they go immediately down on the infield and it doesn't affect any of the cars that are behind them, iRacing will not throw that caution. So I know the 76 car of Eric Cheney might feel a little bit jaded that he didn't get that caution, but something that we're all used to here, whether it's a super speedway or a track like Homestead-Miami, if that car isn't out there on the actual track interfering the other race cars, iRacing will not throw that caution.
That's right. And that's why we constantly saw the driver of Eric Cheney trying to spin the car out. And I will say this, I believe Brandon, maybe on the front straightaway, he might have been trying to cause the car to stall, to have a caution thrown. But after that, he was just simply fighting the race car to get back going again.
I agree 100%. When he was trying to, and maybe we're wrong, and if so, then I apologize. But when he was initially coming out onto that front stretch, I think you're absolutely right, Wes. I think he was trying to get a caution thrown, realized that he wasn't going to, and then with just on worn tires, he couldn't get that car back to where he needed it to be. So I think at first, maybe a little bit of trying to throw that caution, but then after that, he was just naturally struggling with the race car.
50 laps coming up here. 49er about to be completed. And there's the man out in front, Troy Daggett. And by the way, he's one. Oh, we got one in the wall. That is Eric Cheney. Cheney a lap down. He's in the wall. And he is still going. Not at speed. Slams the wall. Look at how damaged that car is. He is cattywampus, crab walking down the front straightaway. He's got a problem, and I think this is going to cause a caution. They've got no choice, or he's just going to exit out, and he will. Yeah. Eric Cheney is out. We still stay green.
Yeah, he's going to take the tow to pit road. I think he was just struggling out there, and I'd have to begin to think that tire wear was a little bit too much for him. He was getting a little bit loose. He got up into that wall. He got the initial damage on his front end there. Still no caution. You could tell very, very frustrated coming from the 76 of Eric Cheney. He decides to race down into the infield. He hits the wall again, locks up the brakes, and says, all right, I've had enough of this. You guys aren't going to throw the caution. I'm just going to go to pit road. And it looks like Eric Cheney's night is going to come to an end here.
Yeah, tough break for Big Bird, as Eric Cheney will call it a night. And as that goes on, we continue this battle, watching them battle here.
Yeah, and really right now,
Daggett leading.
Yeah, Daggett's leading right now. Dan Lowther in second, but both those guys still have to come down pit road. So right now, Dennis Moore being able to beat Jeff Stabnow in the pit strategy. I think Dennis came down a lap earlier than Jeff, but nonetheless, Dennis Moore is going to be out front of Jeff Stabnow once again when Troy Daggett and Dan Lowther come down to make their pit stops, which we see the 51. Oh, we're under caution.
Caution's out.
So scratch everything I was going to say.
Yeah, I was about to say, scratch all that out the window now, my friend. Here's a replay of why we're under yellow. First time tonight. Is that Ryan Bloom? He was really fast earlier in the evening. And this is why James Vining up under the left rear, right rear of Dan Lowther's car. Getting a trunk full of the 63, and around went the Menard Chevrolet.
Yeah, and that was one of the drivers we were talking about, Wes. Dan, if they have fast repairs in here, Dan probably isn't too upset about that, because him and Troy Daggett both were going to have to come down pit road under green anyways. So Dan Lowther's just going to look at that and say, all right, now I just get to come down yellow. I don't have to worry about pit strategy. I'll come down, take my tires there. But that might shake things up a little bit midsection there for some of the drivers that weren't able to come down pit road. And Dennis Moore and Jeff Stabnow, West, going to be there 1 and 2.
And this will give us an opportunity to go to commercial. We'll be back with more coverage in a moment. ARCA Northwest from Homestead-Miami.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the Community Radio Network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
All right, so we're working lap number 54. Lap 55 completed when they crossed the start-finish line. A couple of more laps to halfway, 12 to be exact. Welcome back to coverage on the LSRTV. This is Friday night, the Northwest iRacing ARCA Series playoffs. Penultimate race. Bottom line, Brandon, you gotta win if you're one of the top four. Or if you're a wild card seed like Mr. Kevin Smith. Your take of the race so far, 55 laps in, my friend.
Well, I think it's been a little up and down for some of these drivers. Ryan Bloom being one of them. He's going to be restarting this 9th. But a pretty clean race. All these drivers seem to be locked in, focused here tonight. Before this pace car goes off, though, I think we're going to see a real battle and a drag race between the 44 of Dennis Moore and Jeff Stabnow. Jeff losing it there towards the end, but remember on that first restart had a really good run under green.
The lights are off on the pace car, and you know the old cliche, cautions breed cautions. Will we see that? Will we see a string of yellow flags, or do we go right back to the whip of green flag racing? Green flag back out as the field roars back to the Geico restart zone, and quickly Dennis Moore up from the inside to the outside lane, back to the bottom, blocks Stabnow, blocks Smith, blocks West. 3 cars behind the leader as they exit off 2.
Yeah, really good start by Dennis Moore there. Advantage to the 44 as Jeff Stabnow is almost a half car length behind here on. Oh, we got the double zero getting into Jeff Stabnow.
Kevin Smith into Jeff Stabnow. Jeff Stabnow below the apron. How much damage is on the 24? He'll keep on going, but the caution is out, saved by the yellow for the 24.
Yeah, it doesn't look like too much damage on Jeff Stabnow there. As we go ahead and take a look at the replay, we're just going to see Kevin Smith in the double zero car undercut Jeff just a little bit. You see him peeking on the inside there out of the backstretch down into turn 3. And it looks like Jeff Stabnow cutting it really close there, maybe coming down just a little bit too hard onto Kevin Smith. Not a whole lot of wiggle room there for either car, but you're right, Wes. This time around, unlike what happened in the 76 with Eric Cheney, luckily for Jeff Stabnow, he was put into a position where iRacing felt like, okay, we're going to throw a caution for this.
58 of 134, caution is out. And here we go. We'll have to just a tough break for Jeff Stabnow. I mean, my goodness, he had such a good run for him, such a good running car. And then bad luck ensues yet again.
Yeah, we'll see where he restarts on this. He's got a really good car. It looks like at least iRacing live timing for me has him still inside the top 10, starting there in 9th. We'll see if that changes. But, you know, you talked about it early on, Wes. The championship race technically isn't until next week when we go into the round of 4. But for some of these drivers, like Kevin Smith in that double zero car, that championship night begins right here tonight at Homestead-Miami.
You're exactly right, and we'll have to see what goes down here as, again, these drivers are trying to run to advance into the championship 4, but you got a guy like Kevin Smith, and again, I know he got into the 24. I would not say that was an intentional move. You're battling. Kevin Smith is battling. He has to do what he has to do to try to win this race. Honestly, he has to win. If he finishes second, he is the first place loser. He's not running for the championship for next Friday night at Las Vegas, Brandon.
Well, you brought up a good point. Cautions breed cautions. I think Waltrip said that a long time ago. But what that means for the guys at home is, these guys were just on a long green flag stretch. They were spread out. They were top speed. They were in their groove. When you get that caution coming out, now, Wes, we're restarting them, right? I mean, it goes back. All the intensity drops there just for a moment. Everybody gets a chance to breathe. But most importantly, all the cars are lined right back up, bumper to bumper, door to door, and things happen when you're put in that situation and you go back under green flag so close to the other cars. So that's where that came from. Cautions breed cautions because you're resetting them back up. They're so close, and they haven't reached that groove yet in this run.
That's exactly right. And mind you, my friend, we haven't even got to halfway yet. We're not even at halfway. 2 cautions immediately, one after the other. On the restart, Jeff Stabdow going around in 4. Nobody making any attempts to come down to the pit lane. Lights are off on the pace car. We will go back around to the Geico restart zone next time by and come to the restart with over 70 laps left to go in this race tonight.
Yeah, and I talked about it a while ago when we were talking about Kevin Smith. You can only control what you can control, and right now he finds himself up in second place. So he's doing himself justice, putting himself in good position. Right now on this restart, it's going to be important to give that 44 the least amount of space as possible. Sometimes here on iRacing, it's hard to be exactly nose to nose with that first place car. You're looking to your left, trying to see where they engage on the restart. But it'll be interesting to see Kevin Smith. He's going to be excited. He knows it's a win to get in, but will he overdrive his car here on this restart and start falling back 20, 25 laps from now?
The lights are off of the pace car. They'll get ready to come back for green. And as Brandon and I reiterated on, it is not over yet. Still a lot of racing left to go. The playoffs, the round of 8, the penultimate race of the season. Who's going to the Final 4 in the championship at Vegas next week? Green flag, shades of what he did the last time. In front of Stabnow, in front of Smith and West. 44 to the outside, to the inside. Cuts off 2 or 3 cars as they work off 2 again.
Yeah, another good restart by the 44 car of Dennis Moore, using that advantage that we talked about, the 00 car being caught off guard. He wasn't sleeping. It was still a good restart by Kevin Smith, but when you're the leader and you can gauge that right now, you see the 55 car of Dan West getting underneath Kevin Smith. But a good restart by Dennis Moore, checked up high before they even went into turn 1, and he's in complete control of this race.
Back straightaway, side by side. Dan West Jr., Kevin Smith, someone threading the needle. Hold on to it. Fighting that car on the outside lane. One up in the fence. Wow.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about, Wes, with Kevin Smith here in the early run. I know he's excited. I know he feels the pressure, but I think he's doing the right thing there by giving that 55 a little bit of space. You do not want to get into a drag race here early on and abuse your tires and abuse your equipment, as they say, IRL. So by letting Dan West go by, yes, he loses a position technically, but he's going to be able to kind of sit back now, get in his own racing groove, save his tires, and he's still right there in that top 3, feeling pretty comfortable.
Side by side. Back straight away, all these cars bunched up, sparks fly. Into the 3rd turn, Ryan Bloom, Jeff Stabnow. Pick it up where he left off from the most previous caution. And Brandon, he is up to the top 10, back to 7th. That 24 is a strong rocket. And guess who he's got with him? The number 1 seed of the playoffs. That's Ryan Bloom in the 25.
Yeah, Jeff Stabnow, he's going to feel a little bit frustrated. He got spun out there unintentionally, but nonetheless had to take that restart back in 9th or 10th, I believe it was. Already making some position and some ground up. He makes the pass onto Ryan Bloom up to 7th, but I think this 24 car of Jeff Stabnow, he's going to be a man on a mission here in the early going on this green flag run. But again, Wes, he ran the tires off the first green flag run. I know he's excited to get back up there towards the front, but he's going to have to be really careful this time around to make sure he's checking them tires.
Trouble. Bottom of the racetrack off 2. Tyler King spun in 21. There he is. There's a glimpse of it. Caution out for the 3rd time, and it is right smack dab on the cross flags lap of this race. Watch again. 21. Dan Lowther in the 63. You're right there around him. We'll see if there was some contact. Brandon Robinson, and no, it looks like he just he had some help. He had some help, and it was already loose when he came off the corner.
Yeah, the 21 just kind of running that midline through turns 3 and 4 there. He gets a little bit loose. We won't ever know if he was going to be able to save it or not because the 63 car of Dan Lowther unfortunately got into that left rear quarter panel. It looked like it was going to be a heck of a save for that 21 car. And there it is. He started getting loose really early there, Wes, and he's fighting it throughout the entire corner there, and unfortunately, just not enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's not Dan Lowther's fault. I was kind of paused for a second because I wanted to see if maybe he did get into him, but it really wasn't. The 21 was already fishtailed coming off the corner. And then all of a sudden, just simply got into him. Well, here comes cars pitting. This is Jeff Stabnow, Dennis Moore, Kevin Smith, James Vining, all on the pit lane. Here they come. Dan West Jr. Race off pit road. Man.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what the tire set is here. I'm sure it's not unlimited tires, but if these guys have a decent set, right? If they are able, 4 tires plus what they brought in, I don't mind this coming from a couple of drivers like Jeff Stabnow, who's trying to get back into that top 3 where he was all race. Come down, get some fresh tires. Ryan Bloom as well. Some of the drivers that came down, I know there was just a caution. I know they were just down pit road, but as long as they're keeping track of their tire counts, I don't mind this at all.
We are after halfway, so we'll give you the Tom Denchel Auto Group mid-race report. Again, Brandon Robinson, Wesley Outland here with you. Rocket Media, LSRTV coverage of the Northwest iRacing ARCA Series and the final race in the round of 8, the penultimate race of the season. Who's going to the championship for? Right now, Troy Daggett, 2 times a lady up in front of them. Will Duvall is now punching his ticket up there. Dan Lowther was with contact on the Tyler King car, but no harm, no foul. He's in second, Duvall third. Then you've got guys that are at the front of the field all night long, and they include Dennis Moore, Kevin Smith, Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow, Ryan Bloom, James Vining. That's your top 10. Also, I mentioned Ray Fournier. He's up 8 spots. He's doing good in the 26 car, Brandon. Still a lot of racing left to go here. Your thoughts, bud?
Yeah, the 26 car coming up 8 spots. Right now, though, the story of the night, look, Ryan Bloom struggling. Some other drivers like Dennis Moore doing really well. This will be the first time tonight that he's got to fight through a little bit of traffic. I know it's only 4th place. But remember, he qualified in 2nd. So when he got the lead, he wasn't fighting for it too much there. So interesting to see how he makes his way through traffic. The 63 car of Dan Lowther, he's been on fire all night long. He's going to be on the outside of row 1. He's found 12 spots here tonight, but Wes, Troy Daggett, you talked about, he has found himself up 15 spots since the beginning of this race, and he is our new leader, going to be on the inside in that Mountain Dew 51.
That's exactly right. As the lights are off on the pace car, we're ready for the second half of this event here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Next week, it is the final race of the season. Championship Saturday. I'm sorry, Championship Friday. You don't want to miss it. Who will become the champion in the Northwest iRacing ARCA Series? And LSRTV has enjoyed covering this. I know we've had some different people in here a time or two. Caleb Hall, Brandon, yourself. Work with John Muschin and some other guys as well. Bringing in new talent. Green flag back in the air. Lap 71 completed, working lap 72. And ready to wind it down here in the second half of the race at Homestead. But honestly, Brandon, there's still a lot of racing left to go. Daggett, Mountain Dew colors, off the rails out of turn 2.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of racing left. You see the 44 car fighting with Kevin Smith in the 00 as he tries to, the 44 into the wall. That's going to be a ton of track position.
Dennis Moore in the wall. He's still fishtailing loose. Sideways, Ryan Bloom. He gets into the other car. More wrecking. Tyler King's involved. One is upside down. It's Jeff Stab now. He's airborne. Big wreck. Frank Harris involved. Caution out, Aaron Cooper also. Jeff Stab now upside down at the start-finish line. The big one has happened at Homestead on the restart out of turn 4. Wow.
And as we look at the replay, Wes, what was it that you said a couple of cautions ago that we explained? Cautions breed cautions, and unfortunately, we're seeing it here now. I'm not too sure. Okay, so he gets loose on his own right there, the 24 car. Okay, and that's what done it. And then everybody else trying to dodge him. Oh, boy.
Man, what a tough break. Man, oh, man. Watch the replay again. Wonder if we can do a replay from the top view. And I wonder if we could start with the 44 and see where it all went wrong. And our producers are dead on it. Watch this again.
Stabnow's got to be so frustrated here, Wes. I told you at the top of the broadcast, he was frustrated last week. He got taken out towards the end. This time right here at halfway point, he's on his roof and his hood. There he is right there.
The big wreck out of turn 4, and there you see the end result. My goodness, man, oh man. Some top contenders involved. You got to wonder, I'm thinking, did Jeff use a fast repair when he got caught up in an accident earlier? I question that. I question
I'm going to say
the condition on Tyler King's car, because remember, Tyler King had brought out a caution. How much damage was on the 21? A lot of stories here, my friend.
Yeah, and it looks like, I'm going to say yes, that Jeff Stabnow did, because he's still in pit road. He doesn't have a front left tire on his car there. It looks like he might be out of fast repairs, which means he is going to be done for the night. And what we saw there before the collisions, what we saw was 2 cars getting loose, fresh tires. The drivers that had come down pit road that caution had came out, they're on fresh tires, they're cold, they don't have the PSI built up into them. And what we saw on the initial green flag drop, West, was a handful of cars fighting the corner exit, getting loose, and that's what we saw in that restart right there. We saw a couple of individual cars get loose, and unfortunately it ended up having repercussions for the vehicles behind them.
As I just told somebody, there's the big I one. Of course, for iRacing, the big one, the big I one. I knew it was coming. Hey, by the way, don't forget to join LSRTV tomorrow night for racing action of a new series, the Main Sim Racing Series. 200 laps at the Nashville Super Speedway. Super late models. And that'll be at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. My apologies. I don't have anything to do with it. But that is the Main Sim Racing Series. Tomorrow night, Saturday night action on your home for sim racing. Just some of the new leagues that are coming. November the 15th, in about less than 10 days, we have the Sim 500 iRacing League Winter Series. The Sim 500 National League will fire up in February of 2022. And don't forget, the Northwest ARCA truck will be back. I think they're debating what they're going to do with Cup, if they're going to go back to Xfinity or not. That'll be coming up as well in 2022. So much more. And if you're interested in being a league, contact Rocket Media, LiveSimRacingTV.com. We'll get you added. So the lights are off for the pace car. 75 laps completed. Let's give you your full field rundown real quickly, Brandon. Troy Daggett leads, Dan Lowther second, Kevin Smith is third, Dan West Jr. fourth, Ray Fournier is fifth, James Vining sixth, Carl Burke is seventh, Dennis Moore eighth, Frank Harris ninth, and BJ Duvall the top 10.
Yeah, behind him, Ryan Blue still trying to find his footing here in 11th. Aaron Cooper 12th. Tyler King going to be on 13th. Steve Paulison and Judd Wakefield begins our lap down cars in 15th. Jeff Stabnow still in the pits, I believe, in 16th. Eric Cheney 17th. Tyler Kim out, and Scott Hutchinson 19th.
Field to make their way back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag goes back in the air as the full field rundown around lap 75 is completed. Troy Daggett inside. Remember, he's one of those playoff cars. Here's the man on the outside looking in, literally from the number 5 seed. Needs a win from being on vacation. Will it work? He works to the lead on Daggett, trying to the inside. Lowther is there. Dan West Jr. there. Lowther up the track on a turn 4.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be able to regain control there. You see the 44 car going way down low, making sure he stayed out of that. And my pick of the night, Kevin Smith. I didn't pick Ryan Bloom. Remember, I picked Kevin Smith to win this race.
I picked Kevin Smith. You picked Ryan Bloom.
He is up there frying out right now, Wes.
Dan West Jr., winner on Monday night. He's in the championship 4 on the Cup Series as well as the trucks. He sits.
Oh, no.
Devin West, Dan West Jr., father-son for a championship in trucks on Wednesday night. Dan West Jr. also in the Final 4. That race will be decided at Homestead also for the penultimate race of the season of the round of 8 on Monday and Wednesday for Cup and Truck. Samuel Dyer and myself on the call on LSRTV and on the Community Radio Network. Lap number 79, they're working this time by. There goes Dennis Moore back on the high horse again, running after Aaron Cooper, trying to run down Ryan Bloom. Ray Fournier also in that mix. What a good run in the 26 car tonight, staying out of trouble. Back to turn 1 with West out in front.
Unfortunately, and I was able to catch it, going back to about 2 cautions ago, Dennis Moore really struggling here in the 44 car. We saw him up high, hit the wall about 2 cautions ago, or a caution ago. He lost some track positions there. This time around, I caught it on one of my other screens here. He got really loose coming out of turn 4, almost lost it to the point where he hit the inside barrier. Now, he was able to save it, but again, losing track positions. Now, he's right back up in the 8th, right in front of Ryan Bloom, who's running 9th. But right now, that 44 car starting to struggle here a little bit.
Eric Cheney fishtailed as Dennis Moore goes around him. Bonsai driving by, also Aaron Cooper, Harris, King, Paulison, all those cars. There goes Will Duvall. Duval on the outside, inside Dennis Moore. This is for 5th, 7th, and 8th. Duval getting passed by Dennis Moore, back through the field.
Nice little recovery coming out of Dennis Moore, making me eat my words there a little bit, but up to 7th. So 44 car taking care of business after a rough start. Carl Burke in front of him in 6th, up 4 spots. Dan Lowther in the 63 car dropped off here a little bit. He was up there towards the front just a restart or two ago, but he's now fallen back to 5th. He's behind Troy Daggett, who's in 4th, who started first in our last restart. So he's losing a little bit of time right now, and it's that 55 car of Dan West Jr. and Kevin Smith running 1 and 2.
Into that third turn. Dan West Jr., Kevin Smith, James Vining. There they go off that camera angle off of 4 down the front straightaway. Ready to settle this one in. Bring it on home for a midnight snack on the East Coast. Supper, late supper on the West Coast for these guys. And
We haven't
Whataburger
really talked
in
about
Texas.
James. We haven't really talked about James Vining here much tonight here, Wes, but he had fallen back earlier into the race, kind of battling it out with those guys 8th, 9th, and 10th. But he's now found himself back into that top 5 conversation
Certainly
with
is.
Dan Lowther.
Certainly doing well. He is in the 5th position right now, but there goes Dan Lowther and Troy Daggett battling for 3rd and 4th. Vining right there behind him. He's ready to pounce like a coiled cobra, or should I say kitty cat on his prey. Meow, here kitty kitty. Eric Cheney in a shower of sparks down below the bottom of the apron. He just face planted the passenger side of the 76 car. It's pancaked. The Oakley Sunglasses machine down below the bottom of the racetrack. His Chevrolet coming to pit road, and still no caution flag on his car when he wrecks.
Yeah, he's going to take that a little personal at this point, right? Because he's hit the wall a couple of times here tonight, and neither one has been a caution. So 76 car might be a little frustrated there. He hits the wall, but yeah, we stay green flag, and as we do so, Dennis Moore continues to gain spots throughout this field. Back up into that top 5, right there on the back bumper of Troy Daggett, who's in 4th. So a good recovery from Dennis Moore. James Vining, unfortunately, losing a couple of spots the last couple of laps. Carl Burke in that 7th. Will Duval in 8th. Looks like he's trying to get on the inside of Carl Burke, and he does. I think he'll complete that pass on the backstretch here. He does. Aaron Cooper 9th. And Ryan Bloom quietly having an off night, but you know what? He's fine. He's in the points lead. I think it's safe to say he's pretty much locked in to the championship 4, especially if he can just hang out in this 10th spot, which he's been doing here tonight. So he's kind of just along for the ride.
But next time we get a caution flag, I would love for our producer to show the point standings as it just, again, how back close this battle is. Then we get a caution. We don't want to put it up there during green flag action, but I just want you to see how tight these battles are inside the top 5, top 8 for that matter. And then none of these guys have got a green bar. You've seen other events with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series. You notice the green bar. The green, the blue, the orange, the red, the black. No green, though. And the reason why, Brandon Robinson, is every driver in the round of 8 has not won as playoff drivers. It's been drivers that have either been out of the contention, like Dennis Moore, who won $125 as an ARCA regular last week, but he's not racing for a championship per se, or one of the ARCA Northwest Cup truck competitors like a Jeff Stabnow or Sean Brightsman, or hence in the lead right now as we approach lap 90, Dan West Jr. in the 55 from Shelton, Washington.
Yeah, that's right. This is the third. There's been 3 races in the round of 8. There's been 3 different leaders or winners throughout the round of 8. So yeah, you're absolutely right. You touched base on it at the top of the broadcast. All these drivers now in the round of 8 are where they're at by virtue of just, placing in the top 5, the top 10, and getting in on the points. And as we touched base earlier, some of these drivers I thought that are in that position to where, okay, I haven't won a race in the round of 8, but I'm in. You're still looking for some momentum going into the championship 4. There's drivers like Kevin Smith, who's still running P2 in the 00. He's got to win. He's out there in that bubble car that we talked about a little bit. That's why we've emphasized the 00 car with Kevin Smith. And right now, he's about 2 seconds off Dan West. But, none of these round of 8 drivers have won a race, but they've been competitive. They've been having some good placements out there. And I think it's setting up for a really good round of 4.
And there is Kevin Smith. And remember what I said. Remember what I said. If the 00 does not win, he's out. Bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
He will still race if he wants to race. But as far as running for a championship, it's gone. And he made that decision when he decided to go with the family on vacation, which I believe is completely fine.
Debatable.
Completely. Yeah, exactly. It's debatable. But I still believe as we approach 40 laps to go here down the stretch, these laps are going to get more intense. I don't think we're done with pit stops. I think there either will be another caution or a green flag pit stop. A green flag pit stop might cause the caution. And if we get that, it's a whole new ball game and people are back in business. You can already see, Brandon, as some of these cars are really, really tightening up coming off the exit of the corner.
Yeah, you really can. And Dan West Jr. right now, who's our leader, just a phenomenal run that he's having. He's 2 1/4 over Kevin Smith. Dennis Moore 3.5 seconds behind Dan West. So as these cars starting to tighten up a little bit, we had a really good long green flag run the first time around. We got a couple of hiccups at the middle of this race that's pulled out a good 3, maybe 4 cautions so far. So these drivers really starting to settle in here on the second long green flag run, but it's getting that time, isn't it? These tires starting to wear out a little bit. You see these drivers on the outside way up by the wall. You see the 53 car there, all the way up there on the high side, just trying to save tires and build momentum. But yeah, absolutely. We're going to see some green flag pit stops here. And I'm sure towards the end of this race, some of those guys that are on the bubble, they're going to be fighting like heck. And we might even see some late race cautions as well.
If you're going to go, you better go now. As again, lap 96 now, by 7 completed. Closing in on 38 laps down to go, 37 to go here. Welcome back to coverage. If you're watching, get settled in, grab that popcorn, pull back that sofa chair, hold on to the edge, and that armrest is going to be a nice little handle as well as these drivers fight and claw for this final race and the penultimate race of the season to lock into the championship 4, which right now, the man on the outside looking in with a must-win, number 00, Kevin Smith, 2.9 seconds back to Dan West Jr. He has to win as we see Carl Burke, Aaron Cooper, Ryan Bloom, number 1 seed who's had problems all night long at Homestead-Miami, going at it for 8th, 9th, and 10th as we approach triple digits and a century grind completed at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Brandon Robinson off a turn number 4. Here they come.
Yeah, and look out now. I mean, there's a three-man race right there, the 53, the 71, Ryan Bloom as well. But that 44 car of Dennis Moore trying to crash the party of Kevin Smith. He has made up some well-needed ground. He's up on the back bumper of Kevin Smith. He's looking now out of the inside to take that second spot from Kevin. So forget about the race with Dan West Jr. and Kevin Smith having to catch up to him. There's another player in this now, and that's the 44 of Dennis Moore.
And remember, Dennis Moore is trying to go for 2 wins in a row. He won this race last week. He won the ARCA Northwest event at New Hampshire. Now he's trying to go for the hat trick. He gets a $25 bonus if he wins again from Kevin Smith. He just goes around Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith and Tom Denchel Automotive Group paid him $125 for winning the bounty money of the ARCA regular last week, winning at New Hampshire, and now he wants more. He clears Kevin Smith 100 laps in, 34.
Still a pretty sizable gap there for Dennis Moore, though. About 3.3 seconds behind Dan West Jr. The 55 car out there in that clean air all by himself. No tension, no stress, but he's getting a little bit loose out there, and that's all by himself. He doesn't necessarily have to push the race car as hard as some of the other guys that are trying to catch him. So if he's getting loose up there all by himself, Wes, we touched base on it just a short few laps ago. That pit window might be opening back up here a little bit. Again, he got loose right there. It's nothing crazy, but it is something to take a look at, as these drivers now have been on a pretty good green flag run.
$102 of 134 laps as the field works their way back across the start finish. Wow, can you hear me now? Wow. Ooh. That jacked up.
Yeah, we
really
got you,
loudly.
buddy.
He got loud all of a sudden. 103 of 134 laps as Dan West Jr. There he is in that Chevrolet from Shelton, Washington. He is trying to just continue this momentum train. He won an event of the Northwest. He's joining his father-son, Devin Dan West Jr. in the championship for the Truck Series in the playoffs. He's also in the quest with the Cup Series. And now, there you see the Daytona winner, Stephen Paulison. Just kind of riding the weeds on the outside. I believe that's the 26 down below him of Ray Fournier, who's in 13th. He had a really good run earlier, kind of falling back, and we got 30 laps to go when they come back to the start-finish line this time. Bye, Brandon.
Yeah, and we still have that pit stop coming up for these drivers, so a lot of strategy still in play here. A phenomenal run by Dan West Jr. Going through the field, Dennis Moore still second. Kevin Smith dropped back to third. James Vining fourth. Dan Lowther in the 63 car looked like he was going to be a major player to win this race. He's in fifth. Troy Daggett in sixth. Will Duvall in seventh. Ryan Bloom kind of struggling here tonight, but still right there in that top 10. He's in 8th, Aaron Cooper 9th, and Carl Burke 10th. We do have a handful of drivers that are a lap down, and now we have a handful of drivers, Wes, that are coming down pit road.
Green flag pit stops, and I told you I had a feeling it was coming. This is Judd Wakefield, the vape pub entry on the pit lane. Here comes Carl Burke.
Good to see Jeff Stabnow out there racing. Of course, he's multiple laps down, but he's going to get out there. And yeah, it is. I mean, he had a really good run last week in New Hampshire, had a really good run here at Homestead-Miami. Unfortunately, got caught up in a few things, but he's going to go out on his own terms. He's out there running laps. I think we're going to see what we saw that first green flag pit stops, West. These guys that are here mid-pack, outside the top 10, they're coming down a little bit early. We're going to see the leaders like Dan West Jr. and Dennis Moore try to stick it out as long as they can. We'll see what Kevin Smith does there in third, because now he's about 5.5 seconds behind Dan West Jr., and that's only going to continue to grow as he scrapes the wall there actually on the front stretch. So the 00 car of Kevin Smith, he might be wanting to come down a little bit early. He's not going to want to, but he might need to as he continues to lose pace on the leaders.
And Will Duvall climbing. He's at 6th right now. He hasn't pitted. My question is, do you think there's anybody that could go the distance?
Well, we did have the handful of cautions, which obviously that does save a little bit of fuel, but I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think anybody will want to either, at least these guys that are up front. They're going to want tires regardless because that pit window's open. I think they're ready to come down and take tires within the next 5 laps or so. So even if they could make it on fuel, because this field is so spread out, I don't think anybody's... There might be some desperation. Don't get me wrong. There might be some guys sitting back there outside the top 5 that have been saving some fuel here and there. But I think we see just about the whole field make at least one more pit stop.
24 laps to go. We're at 25 laps remaining. When they come back across the start-finish line, Dan West Jr. still leading Dennis Moore. And there you see now Aaron Cooper. Cooper in the 71 machine is 7th. His Chevrolet, a good strong run, had some problems earlier. And here comes Cooper. Brandon, you back with us, buddy?
Yeah, yes, sir. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Aaron Cooper in the 71 car, another up and down night for him. He was up front there for a little while, battling for the top 5. He's been outside the top 10, I believe. At one point, he's been wrapped up in a caution, I believe, as well. Able to come down and use that fast repair, but finds himself in 7th, only about 2 seconds back from Ryan Bloom, who, by the way, Ryan Bloom gaining some ground here in the late run. He's back up to 6th where he started. He's been outside of the top 10 at one point in 11th and 12th. So if we do go green flag pit stops or if we do get a caution, we line these guys back up. Maybe Ryan Bloom's been sitting on a little ace up his sleeve this whole race, and that 25 Monster Chevrolet starts making a run here towards the end.
Lap 113 of 134. When they come back around next time by, it will be 20 laps to go. There's the number 1 seed in the playoffs coming into this race, Ryan Bloom. Will that change? James Viney with a good run right now. He is the man currently in 4th. Troy Daggett, the 51 car. Green flag pit stops continuing. Will we see the late race caution? Will they fight to the end? 20 remaining, Brandon, when they come to the start-finish line. It's time to put up or shut up here at Virtual Homestead-Miami.
Yeah, and I wouldn't count Troy Daggett out either. The only reason he's back there is he's gone down pit road, so that's why he's back in 13th right now. But if there's a dark horse of this race, I think it's that 51 car of Troy Daggett. He has led some laps here tonight. He's been fighting hard all night long. A driver who qualified qualified 16th here tonight, West. For him to be able to lead some laps in the middle of that race, he's been feeling himself. He's been staying out of trouble. He's in the groove. I look for that 51 car who's on a little bit of an early pit strategy. He might be one of those drivers now that can certainly make it to the end while some of these other drivers have to come down pit road.
20 laps to go. We are to the final stretch. Who is going to make their move? There's Bloom. There's Duvall. Final commercial break, and we're going to go side by side. So you do not miss a thing. The checkered flag when we return from Homestead-Miami.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outlet on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the Community Radio Network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
16 laps to go. Ready to bring this one to the finish, and there's not been any change in position. Dan West Jr. is still leading. There is Dennis Moore. He won last week at New Hampshire. He's in second. Kevin Smith third. Brandon, no one jumping out of line, and I still await to see if the front runners are going to have to pit. They've not done it yet with 15 to go.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody's really catching Dan West right now either. Dennis Moore still about 3.3 seconds off Dan West. Kevin Smith, unfortunately, not only losing that second spot to Dennis Moore, but losing a lot of time out there. He has now fallen back 10 seconds from race leader Dan West Jr. Of course, Kevin Smith, we've talked about it all night long, having to win to get in. So he slowly is seeing his championship 4 opportunity come to a close. James Vining back up to 4th where he started. Ryan Bloom cracks that top 5 for the first time tonight, alongside with BJ Duvall right behind him in 6th.
And there's Bloom, and he has had some hiccups earlier in the race, but right now he is trying to stay in the crosshairs of Vining, which honestly, if Vining does what's doing what he's doing, if we have, with 13 to go, another winner that is a non-playoff contender, they are going to punch themselves into the playoffs of the championship 4. And unofficially, it would be Vining, Bloom, Harris, and Daggett. If nothing changes. Unless Smith can win.
Yeah, that's the big key factor, right? I mean, if Kevin Smith wins, he gets in. If he doesn't, Vining, Bloom, Daggett, just a really, and these seasons are really long. A lot of leagues, and I'm not putting those leagues down by any means, but you got leagues that are out there, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, maybe a 12-week season. This league has been going on almost all year long. So there's a lot riding on the line here tonight for all these drivers. And I think that's also why, at least in the round of 8 and as of late, we have seen so many different drivers win these races and non-playoff drivers winning these races, because these drivers here at Northwest Racing Series, they've put in a lot of time for this season, and you just see all the skill out here in display these last couple of weeks. Drivers who have really molded themselves into this league, maybe not making the playoffs this time around, but are already looking forward to next season, wanting to end this season on a high note, as we see with this 55 car of Dan West Jr. But like you said, Wes, some of these drivers will have to see if they come down pit road. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they can stay out.
That's right. And here comes Smith. Kevin Smith is on pit lane. So does that mean Weston, Moore, and Vining and Bloom are going to have to pit as well?
A little bit of trouble there for Kevin Smith. He had to lock up the brakes. We'll have to see. I think he's fine, but we'll have to see. He came down pit road hot there and had to slam on his brakes. Hopefully, no penalties for Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith, 00. You see it's a splash and go. Splash and go on the 00. And 0 with Smith back out. Sees on the return road. He can't come back onto the racetrack until he passes the blend line on the back straightaway, which is legit in NASCAR competition. There's that blue cone. Once he passes the blue line with the blue cone, then he can pull back and turn onto the back straightaway. Boy, man, Brandon, can they not go the distance? That's the question. I'm wondering if this has become a fuel mileage gamble.
Yeah, it really is. And you look at drivers like Dan West, who's on the lead right now. He's got his lead was climbing up to about 4 seconds. If you look at it now, it's still pretty big, 3.5. But you have to wonder if the 55 car looks at this and says, hey, I need to start saving fuel, and I need to now. But the problem is when you start to do that, Wes, it's a full commitment. You can't say, hey, I'm going to start saving fuel, and then 3 laps from now say, no, I need to come down pit road, because you lost a lot of time to the driver behind you. So right now, it's time to make up your mind. Either you're going to start saving fuel and you're going to hit that checkered flag, or you're going to come down pit road and get a splash.
Yeah, you better do it. You better do it now, as you just reiterated on, my friend. 7 laps to go. The field working their way back off of turn number 2, back straightaway. And there is Duval. We're just constantly showing the 85 car. He's climbing right now, trying to get around Bloom for 4th and 5th. And honestly, there's nothing else going on with 5 laps to go next time around. Kevin Smith, he had to fuel. He had to go for a pit stop on a splash and go, mind you. Slim
yeah,
to
he's
none.
all the way back in 10th right now, Wes. So he's hoping that the guys in front of him and the guys that are up top have to come down for a splash, or else he's going to be thinking that he made a big miscalculation.
Or praying for a caution flag, for that matter.
Yeah.
With 5 laps to go. Dan West Jr., there's Stephen Paulison. Paulison is in 7th. Lowther is in 8th. He's right there within the cat's whisker of him. And then behind them, guess who it is? It's Dan West Jr., the leader in the 55 car, running down 8th place and 7th place as Lowther and Paulison battle side by side in their midst. There he is, Dan West Jr., the leader, running them down into 3.
Yeah, and you just got to hope, if you're Dan West, the drivers that are in front of you understand what's at stake here. They stay out of the way. They give you plenty of room as the laps are coming down now. It looked like the 55, I thought, was almost going to come down pit road that last time around. He had gotten all the way down to the yellow or the white stripe. He had slowed down a lot. I thought he was coming down pit road. He decided to stay out. So we'll see if lap traffic comes into play here at the end.
3 laps to go. Up the racetrack goes Paulison. This will now put 7 cars on the lead lap if they lap Stephen Paulison to the line. 2 to go at Homestead. Dan West Jr. What a star-studded week for the number 55 out of Shelton, Washington. He shined in the Cup Series. He did well in the Truck Series to go to the Championship 4 with his son, Devin West. And now, Dan West Jr. working turn 3, coming to the white flag and the CRN 1 to go. This time by Brandon out of turn number 4. The double nickel has 1 more lap, 1.5 miles to go at Homestead.
Yeah, and you seen the 58 doing what we thought he would. Gave him plenty of room to let him by. His lead now growing to 4.5 seconds over Dennis Moore on the last lap. 1 more backstretch to go for Dan West Jr. 4 weeks in a row, 4 different winners here at Northwest Racing ARCA Series.
Turn 3. Dan West Jr., his Chevrolet, exits off turn number 4. He will come to the line, checkered flag, and wins at Homestead, 200 miles. And it is the 55 out of Shelton, Washington, getting it done. Now the story remains, who are the first? Will it remain the 4 on the blue ticker all night long? And we do know Kevin Smith, he tried one lap down. He will not race for the championship 4. He needed a win tonight. He come up short, splash and go. And Dan West Jr., one of the aces of handling Northwest Cup and truck competition, Brandon, strategy on fuel. And he wins in the 55, and he's going to burn it down and light him up here on the front straightaway.
Yeah, pretty long race here at Homestead-Miami. The burnout's well-deserved. Feel bad for Kevin Smith a little bit. You see now these other drivers getting involved here
This
here
is
tonight.
what we call this the Northwest High Five Salute. Welcome to it, Brandon.
Ooh. Well, so far, there it is. Okay, there's the lick onto the leader there. I was waiting for that. Oh, and another one dodges him right there.
The Northwest High Five Salute. Oh! Jeff Stabnow just door slammed the 55 and runs him up into 1 and 2. And they're not done yet. Here they come.
Stabnow maybe releasing some of that frustration from earlier on into the race, taking it out on the side of the 55 car of Dan West Jr. A nice little congratulatory demo derby here at the end.
Northwest High Five Salute. Let the celebration begin. So, unofficial results will about to become official here in a moment at Homestead. Dan West Jr., 4.617 seconds back on Dennis Moore. James Vining, third. Will Duvall, another solid run for him in a top 5. Frank Harris is 5th. Ryan Bloom is 6th. Dan Lowther, 7th. Last car on the lead lap. Stephen Paulison. Kevin Smith, race for a championship in ARCA, done. He's 9th. 1 lap down. Troy Daggett, top 10, Brandon, win the 51.
Yeah, Troy Daggett with a really good run there. You see Aaron Cooper outside the top 10 there in 11th. Carl Burke, 12th. Tyler King, 13th. Ray Fournier, 14th. Judd Wakefield, 15th. Jeff Stabnow, we saw the heartbreak early into the race for that 24 car in 16th. Eric Cheney struggles all night long here at Homestead-Miami. Things not going his way. Going to be 17th. And Tyler Kim, Scott Hutchinson, down 78 and 114 apiece, 18th and 19th.
Who's racing for a championship next Friday night at Las Vegas? And we also speak to the drivers on the podium. Stick around. The finish line post-race wrap-up is next when we return with the Northwest iRacing ARCA Series playoffs on the LSRTV, your home for sim racing. We'll be back at Homestead in a moment. It is time for the Finish Line Post-Race Report here tonight for the Northwest iRacing ARCA Series on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Brandon Robinson, Wesley Outland back here with you. We're about to wrap it up here and grab a word with the top three. We'll grab Dan West Jr., but first we grab our third place man on the podium, and that is the driver, the Cat Man, James Vining. James, what a great job, man. Third place.
Oh, thank you so much. But actually, I owe all this to Jeff. I was having a heck of a time at this track, and last night he sat down and went around laps with me, showing me what line he was running and how he did it, and I practiced it, and it worked. It worked great.
Brandon Robinson, got a question for James Vining.
Yeah, James, so we didn't really call your name a whole lot here tonight, maybe in spurts here a little bit. You had a couple of good battles here tonight, but it was really, Dennis Moore, and we talked a little bit about Kevin Smith. He ran here good all night, but it's okay if your name doesn't get called a whole lot until the end, which we did in that 333 Chevrolet. James, you got all the way back up to where you started. You qualified P4. You took home a podium here tonight. You mentioned Jeff spending some time with you here at this track. But what does it mean for you to maybe struggle just a little bit in the early on, but be able to finish so strong here on the podium?
Well, kind of like when I'm in the trucks, I did the same thing. I got loose, went like almost all the way to the back. It means I'm getting better, and because normally if that happened, I'd be laps down. So I'm racing smarter, and just other than the initial spin or the initial slide, it just means I'm paying attention. I'm getting better.
James, I want you to thank your sponsors as well, my friend. But final question also in a segue. How did it feel being able to race amongst the pack up in the front and feeling you had a shot to win?
Oh, it feels great. This is probably my most dominating, or not dominating performance, but best one as far as being up there and feeling like, wow, I'm catching these guys. So yeah, it feels great. And
Sponsors,
as far as
buddy.
Sponsors. But basically, you guys do a great job in the broadcast. I watch them every one after the race. My teammates, Ryan Bloom, Frank Harris, Rob Gamble, I hope his dad's doing good. Of course, he wasn't here tonight, so prayers are out for him. And LSR or Northwest, and all the guys in this series right here, the ARCA series. These guys are great. They make it so much fun to do this and make it so easy on me doing it. So I just want to thank them too. And Jeff,
Look out.
I owe Jeff a ton of thanks for everything since I met him. The guy is awesome.
Look out, everybody. The Cat Man's on the loose, and he had a solid run here tonight in ARCA at Homestead. Now looking for a checkered flag on the podium, third tonight for the Cat Man, James Vining. Runner-up in the right. But in closing, James, we got to do something about the Seahawks fan, though. We got to get rid of the Seahawks. You got to be a Steelers fan. So. No, I'm just playing.
I've been a Seahawks fan since they became a team. My dad gave me a beanbag, and I've been one since, and I won't change.
I heard that, my friend. I heard that. Same way I feel about the Steelers. James Vining will finish in third. Dennis Moore, he took all the money last week. $125 bonus from Tom Denchel Automotive Group. And tonight, he will finish in second from the Beaver State Clan in the 44. Dennis, your take of the race, my friend. It's just coming up a couple of spots shy. Were you thinking Dan West Jr. was going to run out of fuel? Was it a strategy there and you just ran out?
No, I mean, I knew I had enough, so I was sure that he had enough. We were fast all race. It just got behind the 8-ball there. The wall sucked me in on one of the restarts. I restarted 9th and then tried to wreck myself and got too far behind Dan to run him down. He was just as fast as I was, so it was a lot of fun though. The race was tough. The car was super loose off the exit, but still a lot of fun.
Yeah, Dennis, Brandon up here in the booth. You had your 44 machine up towards the front there before we started to get those wonky mid-race cautions. There's about 3 or 4 of them relatively close together. You talked about scraping the wall. You bounced back a little bit. You got loose coming out of turn 3 shortly after that. But, I mean, you can't, there's only one thing you could have done better, and that was maybe get first. The bounce back to be able to get second was a phenomenal run, especially with drivers like Kevin Smith who were fighting for their life, and BJ Duvall was up there, and Bloom was up in that middle pack. So to be able to go through that adversity after those cautions and take home P2, still got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. These ARCA cars are my favorite car to race on the service. You got to save the right front most tracks, and then here tonight was just being easy on the throttle, thinking there was an egg underneath it. So I knew I could get back up in the top 3 at least. I didn't know if Kevin was going to try to catch Dan or not because he needed to win tonight. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I wish I would have won, but I'm glad Dan won. He did a great job.
Hey, Dennis, we'll let you throw your sponsors out there as well, bud. But my final question as well. You look at what like James Vining did, and you're seeing these other drivers, and even like yourself, growing, learning, adapting. What does that mean for you in the future for 2022 and beyond and running in Northwest?
Oh, I'm really excited for next year. We've made leaps and bounds from last year. Setup wise, racing a lot smarter, like James said. I feel like I was pushing a little too hard last year, even at the beginning of this year in the trucks and cup. But yeah, I'm excited. We'll see what happens. I'm in the final 4 for the trucks, so tonight was good practice for Wednesday, and I'll probably be there Monday night for sponsors: Nicole Bryan Photography, Northwest Racing Series, Tom Dental Auto Group, and I also like to thank James Vining for putting this series on, and you guys at LSRTV.
Making it happen. And, of course, that is Dennis Moore, 44. He'll finish in the number 2 position. He won last week. Land of Victory Lane we go. Dan West Jr., I don't know what all to say, my friend, except this has been quite a good week for the driver to Shelton, Washington in Cup, Truck, and now in ARCA going into Homestead for Cup and Truck next week. What's your thoughts going into these final races? You are really strong.
Thanks, Wesley. Thoughts? I'm here like Dennis, just trying to get the practice in, getting into these final rounds. As far as the race goes, felt like I was in learning mode behind Dennis and Jeff in the beginning. Those two were dominating the race, and I just was going to school behind them. So I was doing everything wrong as a driver in that first session. So second part of it, I felt like I learned quite a bit and was able to kind of keep pace.
Hey, Dan, first off, congratulations on the well-deserved win. Me and Wes were talking about, I think with about 15 laps to go, we were wondering if some of these drivers, including yourself up front, were going to have to come down and do a little bit of a splash and dash, but you didn't have to. You finished the race. I know you and Wes touched base a little bit about it. You were more worried about Dennis Moore than you were your fuel, but how good were you on fuel there at the end?
I think I was about 3 or 4 laps to the good, so I was never really too concerned about that. Like I say, it was just more like I was telling Wesley, it was just watching the relative, watching Dennis. I knew Dennis was really fast. He's a real smooth driver and takes care of that right front, takes care of the right rear, just takes care of the whole car in general. So I knew that was my job, right? Was just to take care of the car, keep the tires underneath me, and I kept an eye on the fuel here and there, but it was more just watching the relative.
All right, Dan, you are one of these drivers that are obviously having a shot to race for the Northwest Cup Series Championship. You're in the Championship 4 as well, in the trucks already, and you're just having fun in ARCA. But what can you take from this ARCA racing, this win, to help you have a successful race going into Vegas next week, next Monday and Wednesday here at Homestead as well for Cup and Truck?
Well, I think it's just getting in a rhythm, learning the track, right? I mean, just learning the line, and just racing around the other guys. So, yeah, it'd take a lot from this. I mean, you don't realize what you get in just making laps. So, looking forward to the race Monday night with the Cup car. I think that'll be a blast.
All right, man. Thank your sponsors.
Effective Web Solutions, LSRTV, you guys are the best, and Tom Dental Auto Group. Jeff Stabnell for coming out tonight and hanging out with me, and appreciate you guys.
Dan West Jr. picking up the win here for ARCA at Homestead, and now moving into Cup and Truck in the final week of competition. Well, Brandon Robinson, your final thoughts, buddy. Enjoyed working with you. Your take of what we've seen here tonight at Homestead, and we should be set for a wild finale. at Vegas next week.
Yeah, we really will. First off, it was an honor sharing the booth with you, Wesley. Before taking this job, I did watch some LSRTV with you and Sam as well. So honored to work with you here tonight. Tonight was a really good race. I mean, it felt like what it was. There was a championship on the line for some of these drivers. For others who had already banked in and cashed in on their round of 4, like Mr. Bloom, he kind of sat back, stayed out of trouble. He knew the assignment, and he took care of it. For other drivers like Kevin Smith, we saw him just give his all out there, and it's obviously not the finish he wanted, but man, he was a fun driver to watch here all night long. And of course, when our race winner took the lead there at the end, there was no looking back. Just a good green flag run to start the race and a green flag run to end the race. Phenomenal job by these guys.
And for the Northwest Racing Series, 4 drivers will battle for the championship as it has just... Okay, they have not officially updated it yet. We are still looking at the results from New Hampshire, so it has not officially updated from the race of tonight. But right now, unofficially, we could say unofficially, it would be Ryan Bloom, Frank Harris, Troy Daggett, and James Vining, because those are your drivers that literally had decent runs. Honestly, they would climb, and those are currently the 4. For everyone else, like Robert Gamble, Kevin Smith, Judd Wakefield, and Toby Ritters, obviously, who didn't even race tonight, they are out. As always, the finale next week from Vegas. And, of course, the penultimate race of the season for the Northwest Cup and Truck Series presented by Tom Ditchell Automotive Group is Monday night and Wednesday night. Coverage on your home for sim racing, LSRTV, and simulcast with audio coverage as well on the Community Radio Network. For more details, go to livesimracing.com and join us for racing events, whether it's dirt, pavement, super late models. Don't forget about that main series starting up tomorrow night. You want to check that out from Nashville Fairgrounds. And, of course, Cup and Truck at Homestead just after this ARCA show was exciting as well. For Jeff Stabnow, all of our crew at Rocket Media and Live Sim Racing. For Brandon Robinson, I'm Wesley Outland. Congratulations to Northwest regular Dan West Jr. to